Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the fuel pump and the fuel tank sending unit for the Kawasaki. The sending unit, let me get this down here like this. The sending unit, pretty simple operation. It's just got a little, almost like a potentiometer kind of a thing inside of it. I believe it works like that. And as the fuel rises, it moves that lever and changes the resistance in this sending unit, which makes the gauge move. And then as the fuel goes down, it either increases or decreases resistance. I'm not sure how this is set up. And then as it goes down, of course, it makes the fuel level gauge go down too. I've been soaking this for a few days in vinegar, and it cleaned up really nice. The same with the fuel pump. But today, I went to work on them and I noticed this lever came out, okay? It's not supposed to do that. I don't know if it was pressed on originally to the little unit inside of here, or if it's soldered or crimped or what it was, but that shouldn't come out like that. That kind of concerns me that maybe it's corroded internally and I'm gonna have to buy a new sending unit. I don't know, we'll have to see. I wanna open this up first and then get it checked out. But on the fuel pump, it cleaned up really good on the outside, but I noticed this wire that goes down to this, which I'm not sure what this does. I don't know if that's a low level fuel level sensor or what that is, but the wire has come unsoldered from there. You can see it. Again, no big deal. I can just solder it back as long as this piece is still good. But I'm gonna go ahead and take this apart and try to get this opened up and see what the pump itself looks like internally. I'm hoping it's okay because there should be a filter in here before it goes through the pump. So even though that fuel was real rusty looking, when I drained the tank, this thing hasn't been ran since, I don't remember when it was, 2015 or something like that. I think the last time the bike was ridden. So whatever fuel got into there should just be clean fuel because it had to go through that filter first. No big chunks should have got into that pump. So hopefully the pump's okay. And it was submerged because there was like at least a 3/4 tank of fuel in this when I got it, so it wasn't completely empty, which hopefully saved this. If not, I can buy a new internal pump for this for, I don't remember, I think it was like 38 bucks or something like that. If I have to buy this whole unit, it's like 400 bucks. So I don't want to have to buy this whole unit. I'm hoping if worse comes to worse, well, I'm hoping this thing works, but if not, I'm hoping that worse comes to worse, I just have to buy a new pump. But we shall see. I want to get that taken apart too. But first thing I'm going to do is take this apart. So let me get the camera reset and we'll get to working on it. Okay, I don't think this is going to work, and the reason I don't think this is going to work is I don't know how well this is going to show up. It's kind of hard to get a light on here. I don't know, nothing to set that like that. Okay. I don't know how well that's showing up. You can see a little tiny wire going from that terminal up here to this end of this. This base of this wire is wrapped around this little block here. There should be a wire coming off of that side up to this end, I believe, that causes to read the resistance from one side to the other. I think, anyway. I'll have to look at this a little closer. Maybe it's not. Maybe they're supposed to read off of that. Okay, I've got this, I pulled this cover off and all this stuff fell out. And this lever should be tight on this shaft. Like that. And then that runs up and down on those, and that changes the resistance as that goes back and forth. I think I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to save this. Okay, so I got all these pieces cleaned up. I don't see anything broken off. I thought maybe this wire was broken, but I don't know if it is. I have to get out my cheaters again. What I'm trying to see is if this end of the wire is broken off or it's crimped down in there, because I thought maybe it went back to this terminal, but I don't think it's supposed to. I don't know. I can't tell if that's broke off or it's crimped down. I'm going to do a little bit more research on this before I do much more of this. So I'm going to go ahead and tear the fuel pump apart now. I mean, normally sitting units, when they go bad, you just replace them. I've never had one apart like that, so let's see. I'll take a couple of pictures of this so I kind of know what it looks like. There. Now I've got it all apart. Can't remember how it goes. I got some pictures to go off of. Not really sure what I have to take off to get this to come apart. I'm assuming these two pieces here and then this piece comes off. I don't know. We'll see. That piece will come off. Yeah, that comes out. I think this piece should look off now. Still smells like vinegar. I think I'm going to go ahead and disconnect these two wires. They just slip off. There we go. Now I think this top will come off the rest of the way. Maybe. Yep, here it comes. And there's your fuel pump right there. And this is your fuel regulator. Regulates the pressure. I think that should just come out of there. Pretty ugly looking in there, I think. We shall see. Okay, there's your filter. Look at how it's all crumbling apart. And went right down here on the bottom. I think that should come out. Yeah, that filter just falling apart. And if you get a new pump, that filter comes with it. I think that pump should just come out of there. I'm going to take it over in the vise and I'm going to put a little punch down here and just try to tap on it and knock it out this way. There shouldn't be anything else holding it in there. Okay, I'm just going to tap on this a little bit and see if it'll move. There it goes. Something went. Okay, there we go. And it just slides out. Definitely needs a good cleaning. Everything's all corroded on this and everything. I think I'm just going to go ahead and order a new pump and be done with it. Because if it's corroded like that on the outside, probably doesn't look any good on the inside. Let me try putting power to it and see if it'll spin over. I've got my handy dandy 12 volt power supply. I think this thing actually goes up to 24 volt or 32 volt. I don't know what it is. It's a new one I just got. My other one quit working on me, so I had to get a new one. And let me hook this up and see what happens. I can kind of feel the pump clicking, and it's drawing 8 amps, so it's definitely locked up. So I guess what I'm going to do is, and I might look and see how much a new sending unit is. If a new sending unit's not too much, I might just say, you know what, it's not worth putting this thing all back together and find out the sending unit doesn't work. So I'm going to go in and check on parts, and I think that's probably about as far as I'm going to go today on the fuel pump and the sending unit. Okay, today is February 23rd, and I've got my fuel pump in today, so I'm ready to put the tank back together. The sending unit, I got it all cleaned up. And as you can see, that this brass finger goes up and down and rubs on those wires wrapped around that. It works kind of like a resistor. And as it goes up and down, that'd be an empty tank of gas, and this would be full. So when it goes, this lever moves to the right, your tank's filling up. And after I got it all put back together and cleaned up, I went in and tested it with a multimeter, with an ohm meter, to measure resistance. And I'll hook it up here and I'll show you what I found out. I'm just hooking it to the plug-in here. I'm going to have to hold this with one hand and move this with the other hand, so hopefully... Okay, so when it's all the way empty, the tank's empty, you see it's reading 96.6. And then as it goes up, as you're filling the tank up, you're getting less resistance in that system. So less resistance reads a higher fuel level. Okay. So that shows me that it's working now. So now I just need to finish putting it back together. When I first took it apart, I wasn't getting any ohm reading at all. When I took it apart, I discovered that this lever had come off, so it wasn't touching. That's why I wasn't getting any ohm reading when I moved that back and forth. It wasn't touching that coil before. So the only thing I need to do to finish putting this back together is put this cover back on. And it's just got these little fingers you crimp over after you put it on. And there's a really tiny wire in there. I don't know if it'll show up or not. It's like the thickness of a hair. And that's what you have to be careful not to break that wire off, because if it does, it's not going to work at all anymore. I don't like bending those fingers anymore, and I have to. Okay, there we go. Sending units put back together. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is the fuel pump. And this is the old fuel pump. I showed you that the other day. The new fuel pump comes with new wires, comes with a pump, comes with a new regulator, and a new filter. I got this on eBay. I don't know if that part number is showing up, but you just type in for this model bike or any model bike and it'll bring them up. It gives you several different options. Some of them come with everything like I got. Some of them you can get just the pump. Some you can get the pump with O-rings and stuff without the pressure regulator and stuff like that. So it depends on what you're needing. I always want to go ahead and replace everything because the old regulator is pretty dirty and I didn't want to stick it back in there. Everything should be new when we get it all back together. It's got little covers on it to protect the inside of the pump so we don't get any dirt in it. The only thing I made, the fuel sending unit had this gasket on it. It's about 156 thousandths thick. It's got steel bushings molded into it, but it's got a lot of cracks in it and stuff. And when I was trying to strip the tank, when I had this bolted in, it was seeping a little bit. So I couldn't get a new gasket. So I bought gasket material at O'Reilly's. It's gas resistant. And then it wasn't quite thick enough, so I put a space. It made a spacer. So it's going to be 2 gaskets and a spacer. That should work just fine. It gives me about an 1/8 inch of thickness here. So I'm about 30 thousandths less than the old one, but that's really not going to hurt anything. It's just going to move the sending unit up into the tank just a little bit more, which means that it's going to show empty quicker than it normally would, but I'd rather do that than have just one layer in there and then it shows empty as you're running out of gas. So I had to give you a little bit more gas to get to the station. Of course, here's the new regulator, the 2 new wires, and it comes with a new filter screen and then the O-rings. There's 3 O-rings in this. So, and this, yesterday I went ahead and soldered this wire back on here. You guys seen me do soldering before, so I didn't bother showing that, but I took a little bit of rust remover and cleaned up the terminal because it was really rusty, and wire brushed it, and then I just soldered that wire on there. So hopefully this piece here, I'm not sure what it does. It looks to me like it's a low-level warning light sensor, so hopefully it still works. If it doesn't, worst what happen is the low fuel light doesn't come on, but it's got a fuel gauge built into the speedometer. There's your low fuel light. So if you're watching your gauge, you're going to know when you're getting low on gas. So anyway, we'll go ahead and put this back together. I got it all cleaned up. I got it all flushed out and everything, so it should be good and clean. You can see there's one O-ring here, and then let's see, and there's an O-ring here, and then there's an O-ring right here. Okay, so let's start putting the fuel pump together here. So I've got this piece here, and the fuel pump has to go down in there like that. WD-40 on there to help those O-rings go in a little better. It just snaps in there like that. Okay, so we're putting this back together now. I've got the pump down in here. I got the wires on it. I got the pickup screen on this end. Yep. Then I can put the O-ring back on here. There we go. Okay. I've got the one little piece in here, it's held in with an O-ring, then this O-ring goes down on that. And then this O-ring goes up in this hole right here. And I have to get that wire, this green wire, to go right in between here and here as it comes down. So pinch it. And there we go. So far, so good. And this wire has to reach down through there like that to that terminal, I'm hoping. And then this piece goes on. This piece goes on the back like that. Like that. And guess what I forgot to put in there? The regulator. Okay, so now I got to put the regulator in here like that, and then this will go down on top of that. I'm about out of WD-40. Okay, let's slip this down like that. Okay, it's back together. And then this piece goes on, and this is what holds it all together, along with holding this little sensor. Slow them down, and then I don't know if it matters which side I got to put this on, that side or that side. I'll look it up. Okay, it looks like it comes up through here and then hooks on that side. And then the rest of the wire kind of goes down inside the housing here. Put it on here first, and then I can poke it down in that housing. Goes like that. This wire from that unit comes up and over like that. Okay, so we got the fuel pump all back together, all the wires put back on. All that's left to do is mount it back in the tank. I wanted to show you guys inside the tank again how well it turned out. I'm really happy with this. You can see down in there, it looks like a brand new tank. And everywhere you can see in there, it's that way. Even I put a mirror down in there. You can see down in there. Looks nice. Okay. Just like that. Okay, got that in. Now we'll do the sending unit. Okay, that should do it. Okay, now for the last piece, the seat. Okay, now for the last piece, the gas cap. And there we go. It's all together.